Welcome to Crime Darkroom. I'm Elias Blackwood, and tonight we're diving into a world tinged with danger, wealth, violence, and greed, a story that begins in Colombia and reaches across the globe. The story of Pablo Escobar, a man who redefined the boundaries of power, law, and fear. Let's dive into the shadows where truth hides. Pablo Escobar was born in 1949 to a poor family in Rio Negro, Colombia, and had 6 siblings. As a child, Pablo had nothing to lose, and from the beginning, he sought a way to change his destiny. He grew up in the city of Medellin. His first experiences in the world of crime began with petty thefts, and reportedly, he started his criminal activities in his teenage years by stealing tombstones and selling them to local smugglers. But this was just the beginning, and he tried other crimes like fraud, selling cigarettes, selling fake lottery tickets, and car theft. However, over time, he realized that the main path to wealth and power lay in the drug trade. Escobar's entry into the cocaine trafficking world quickly enabled him to amass legendary wealth and establish his empire under the name of the Medellin cartel. He controlled the entire cycle from production to distribution of cocaine, with millions of dollars flowing into his accounts daily. However, he faced a bigger challenge, managing this vast amount of money. At the peak of his power, he earned $100 million per week. His wealth was so immense that he hid cash boxes on farms, in abandoned warehouses, and within the walls of his associates' homes. Every year, about 10% of this money was lost due to rats chewing through it or water damage. Additionally, in 1989, with a fortune of $35 billion, he became the 7th richest person in the world. His cartel controlled a large portion of drug trafficking to the United States, Mexico, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and other parts of the continent, with Escobar also responsible for over 80% of the world's cocaine trafficking. In his prime, Pablo was more than just a trafficker. He had become a symbol of salvation for the poor people of Medellin. By building homes and infrastructure for the impoverished, he gained immense popularity. Perhaps due to his own past experiences of poverty and hardship, he showed compassion toward the poor, earning him the nickname Robin Hood from some in Colombia. People saw him as a hero, and for many, he was like a savior. Yet behind this benevolent image, one of the world's most dangerous criminals was hidden. Truth is darker than crime. Escobar's primary strategy for controlling his opposition was the plata o plomo, silver or lead policy, meaning that anyone who opposed him either had to accept heavy bribes or face death. Pablo Escobar turned Colombia into the murder capital of the world. In 1991 alone, Escobar's mafia was responsible for over 7,000 organized killings. He even paid more than 600 impoverished youths large sums to eliminate police officers standing in his way. Escobar's power and influence extended to the point that even Luis Carlos Galán, a presidential candidate, became a victim of his assassination. This ruthless policy forced many government officials, police officers, and even judges into silence. Escobar had effectively built an underground independent government of his own, challenging even the Colombian state itself. This progression led to Escobar entering politics and being elected as a member of Congress. He even dreamed of reaching Colombia's presidency. His success in achieving a congressional seat caused both the Colombian government and the United States to take the existential threat he posed more seriously. Finally, under intense pressure from the U.S. and international communities, the Colombian government was forced to begin a direct fight against the Medellin cartel, and the U.S. even allied with Pablo's criminal rivals. This action sparked a full-scale civil war that essentially turned the country into a battleground and claimed the lives of thousands of men and women. Eventually, under pressure from the United States and the international community, the Colombian government managed to convince Escobar to surrender, but on his own terms. Escobar built his own prison called La Catedral, which more accurately was a luxurious palace. From there, he continued to manage his empire, engaging in lucrative cocaine trade activities and pursuing anti-American political ambitions, without any fear of the government, the law, or the United States. But this situation did not last. The U.S., exerting pressure on the Colombian government, aimed to attack, capture, or kill him, forcing Escobar to escape from La Catedral, his luxurious palace, or so-called prison. From then on, he was a fugitive, but he still used his unparalleled power and influence. He continued his confrontations in his hometown, Medellin, amidst the people, with U.S. drug enforcement agents, Colombian police, and his rival groups. Finally, the Colombian government, with the support of special forces and U.S. assistance, pursued and surrounded him. In those days, when the government had grown desperate over capturing Escobar and Pablo had turned the streets into a battleground for revenge, the Colombian army, in 1992, sent a special unit trained to capture him up close, or, if necessary, finish him off. These forces began a house-to-house search across the entire area. To avoid capture, Pablo hid in crowded and densely populated buildings he had built in the outskirts of Medellin to complicate things for them. But the army also took action. They divided the area into small sections and used radios to trace any clues or signs of him. Finally, after much conflict and struggle, everything came to an end on December 2, 1993. Lieutenant Martinez tracked Pablo's radio calls with his family to pinpoint his exact location. The army forces quickly arrived and began firing. Pablo and his bodyguard ran toward the rooftop, attempting to escape from there, but the Colombian police ended it, and both were killed on that same rooftop. To this day, many in Colombia still wonder who gave the final order to shoot and what really happened that led to Escobar's abrupt end. This person was so powerful and memorable that films, series, and even games have been created based on his character. One of the most famous series inspired by him is Narcos, along with well-known movies like Escobar, Paradise Lost, and Loving Pablo. Even a video game titled Ghost Recon, Wildlands, was made featuring him. Pablo Escobar's son, Sebastián Marroquín, who was born with the real name Juan Pablo Escobar, chose a different path from his father's life. After Escobar's death, Juan Pablo and his family migrated to Argentina and changed their identities for protection. He adopted the name Sebastián Marroquín and tried to distance himself from his father's shadow. If you enjoyed this story and want to dive deeper into the dark world of crime, follow the Crimedarkroom channel and like this video. Follow me, and let's uncover what's hidden in plain sight.